Hey everyone, it's Elizabeth with HIVE Nurse. You're here live from the actual Hive. This is my office, and we're so excited to all be here together today. We're going to be talking with Ashley and our guest Alexa to talk more about what experiences new grads are having nowadays.
Thanks, Elizabeth, for kicking us off. I'm Ashley Kellish. Again, welcome to Inside the Hive, and we are just thrilled to have a real-life new graduate here at the table with us in the Hive. This is exactly what this platform is meant to do, and we are so excited. Alexa Wanovich is someone that I have been introduced to through some friends of mine, some colleagues that I have here in our community that we live in. And the most interesting thing that I want to share with you about her before she introduces herself is that she is an incredible athlete. She is an incredible human being, and she is taking her first year of nursing by storm. And the conversations that we have had over the last several months could be podcasts, every single one of them. She is so insightful. And we brought her on today because we really want to hear from her, someone who is at the Gemba doing the work. What is it like to be a new grad today? What experiences are driving her success and her challenges? And how is she prepared even to get to this space it is? And I do want to point out that Alexa comes to us also with a special aspect about her. Alexa was a college-trained athlete. She played soccer for two prestigious universities, actually, incredibly well, and then now spends her free time coaching kids in soccer. So this concept we talk about around teamwork and what it takes to coach and deliver excellent care is something that she aligns really well with. So, yeah. Alexa, there's your intro. We'd love you to just introduce a little bit about yourself. Tell the Hive who you are.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Alexa Wanovich. I grew up in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I kind of have an untraditional track to nursing and working actually in nursing. So I was a 6-year college athlete, which sounds a little crazy, but
it's a lot of time. A lot of time. That's like master's degree.
So my undergraduate degree I got from Villanova University up in Pennsylvania, where I got my BSN in nursing while also playing soccer.
Amazing.
And then yes, it was a lot of balance. Mm-hmm. I think it was a lot of flexibility that came from athletics more than nursing. They were super
not shocking.
It was pretty funny. My first semester of nursing school, we were in COVID, and we had training pods. So you
played with your roommates or people that lived down your hall or your class
to keep you all together.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And because of my clinicals and my nursing courses, my pod was my coaching staff.
Oh, wow.
So it was me and the four.
Wow. You got extra credit.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah. One-on-one.
We'd go to practice. Everyone would have their pods, and I'd be like, "Here's me and my coaching staff."
Hope I don't mess up on this one.
Literally.
Yeah.
But so that was a pretty unique experience. But because of COVID, I was given an extra year of college athletics. So I ended up going to UNC in Chapel Hill to play more soccer. But before I got there, I got injured. So I actually had a season-ending injury before that season started. But it was kind of silver lining. I ended up getting 2 seasons in Chapel Hill. And my second one, I ended up winning a national championship. So
congratulations.
Silver lining.
Yeah.
Go really nice. Yes, go Heels. But so I also got a master's degree. So I have my master's in leadership and nursing education.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Congratulations.
What an untraditional yet very unique and exciting path to start your nursing career with.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what you expected when you joined the nursing career.
So I think the biggest thing that stood out to me as far as nursing, and I have family members who are nurses, I have family members who have been physicians or doctors. So it's I got the whole healthcare experience growing up. But I think the thing that stood out to me the most was that face-to-face contact that nurses get with patients. I love making connections with people, and I think that was what nursing really spoke to me.
Yeah.
I think another thing that really stood out to me that we've talked about plenty of times before, but basically that nursing is pitched to you as a team sport. So when I was in nursing school, they kind of talk about the healthcare team or the interdisciplinary team. So I was really excited to be able to join this team because I had only known team sports my whole life. And again, this was my career. So I kind of wanted to take that team mentality that I've always been preached to and learn through and played with teammates, and in college is kind of unique because you get new teammates every year.
Yeah.
It's not the same as club soccer where you're going every season with the
like
same
nursing, you get new teammates every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of nice.
Yeah,
It's like
it is.
you have your more seasoned nurses, you
Yes.
have your seniors on the team, and then you have like the newer nurses. So the new grad, which I am right now, I'm about almost 11 months into nursing, which is pretty crazy. I'm like, I feel like I started last week.
Yes.
But you have like your freshmen on the team, and I feel like that's where I am right now,
Yes.
especially in the longevity of this career compared to like a 4-year athlete. But yeah, so it's definitely what I was really drawn to is that whole team aspect of it. So I was really excited to be on this new team because it's now my new normal. I'm an adult now, or attempting to adult, but
Doing
Yeah.
great. Yes.
But that was like my biggest thing was I was like, all right, like in a soccer game, if you personally fail, you have your team to kind of lean back on. And I kind of liked that was like the same idea that I potentially have going to nursing. And obviously stakes are a little bit higher in nursing, but you have that team. And that was like, that really made me feel comfortable going into a very high stress profession. Yes.
So how has it been? How is it? Do you feel like things have sort of crossed over well from like the college athlete team over into the healthcare team?
Yes and no. I think there's some great things that has definitely translated. I think the high intensity, like really high acuity, high demanding, being to be able to anticipate needs. I think that is really great. And that definitely comes, I'm currently an oncology nurse, so I work with blood and bone cancer patients. And I think those are really important skills, but I do think at times, because of the high demand of our job, there are some team aspects that sometimes fall through the cracks, and it can be a little bit isolating sometimes. So I think in a game when you're all focused on like the one ball, in nursing, we're juggling a lot more than that.
It's like 77.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that was like what I wasn't exactly ready for. Because again, when you're in nursing school and you're going to clinical or something, and I like think about this a lot, I'm like, I had clinical kind of easy sometimes. Like I think clinical was like their way of kind of showing you like the roses and everything that was going to be for night.
Well, when you're in clinical, like it may be too by the end of your clinical years, but then when you're on the floor, like how many patients are you having now?
I think right now I'm like, I hope for 3, but it usually ends up being in a shift. And like you said, like
patients.
and
sick oncology patients.
Yes.
And I think even now, like when we make like the assignment, the prior shifts charge nurse makes the assignment. And I think they kind of look at all the different things that are going on with patients. And there could be a patient that's deemed less demanding, but it could be tasky. Or it could be a less sick patient, but then something goes wrong. So like
or the family is there.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of questions.
It's day shift versus night shift.
Well, it's kind of like sports. You can't predict exactly what's going to happen.
Yes,
you can kind of look at your roster and kind of look at things and kind of figure things out like you're being Bill Belichick at the UNC. But like you don't have a crystal ball. So you don't know if like that patient in room 4B is going to end up septic during the shift.
Especially the shift before. It's really hard to judge that. Alexa, one thing that stood out to me that you said, if you don't mind me sharing during one of our podcast phone calls, was that you really have never felt more lonely in your life. And you just mentioned the word isolating. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important. We talk a lot about the evidence in the literature, and to validate you're not alone. The literature actually reports that many of our healthcare colleagues are isolated, they're burnt out, and they feel lonely despite being surrounded by people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So help us understand, because the Hive is all about strategies. It's all about how do we get through this? How do we overcome it? We joked before we started today that you're still in it. You haven't left yet.
Nope.
You look like you're planning on staying. The scrubs look fantastic. So we're good. But help us relate a little bit about what it might be that we could learn from your time on a team, a very intense team that could help you feel less lonely or help your colleagues feel less lonely in the workplace.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, it definitely depends on the floor and it depends on the specialty. I think I've seen different forms of nursing now. I've gotten to experience all of the clinicals I had in nursing school. And then I've experienced firsthand oncology care. But I've also shadowed other places like an OR where everyone is in one spot. We're all in one room.
That one ball mentality.
Yes. That one patient, all of your attention goes to that patient. But there are also struggles that come with that. Whereas in mine, we all have their own patients. So we might have 3 or 4 patients. Sometimes someone will have 2, depending on how sick their patients are, or demanding they are. And then you kind of have to find ways to work together. So if being newer, I have a lot more questions. I think that's
absolutely. We want questions.
We want you to.
We still have questions. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember like we have a couple new grads starting now, which is funny to me that like they look to me now for questions. I'm like, oh no. I like joke all the time. Like, ask a trusted adult.
Yeah.
But
that's part of your insightfulness. Yeah. I don't think everyone could recognize that in themselves.
Yeah. And
that's amazing.
One of them came up to me and she was like, I have a dumb question. I was like, oh no, there are no dumb questions. No, believe me, there are some questions.
Right.
So I think that I've done a lot of finding those trusted adults. And I think on a unit of 70, 80 staff, it's a lot harder to find trusted adults, especially because everybody has their own patients. So you have your charge nurse, but they also have their own responsibilities. And I think that's kind of the tougher part right now is figuring out who are the trusted adults, which obviously you want to create an environment where everyone is a trusted adult.
Right.
And I think that's the gap right now.
Yeah.
And again, like I think now I'm taking a lot of like looking from the outside, a lot of like, this is our job. So we're there for 12 hours a day, but we have lives outside of this. And like, sometimes it's hard to not separate. And like you could come to work and be more tired because your kid was sick or something like that. Like there are more things that I think now I'm kind of approaching work with that mindset of being like, everybody deserves a little bit of grace. However, our priority is safety and health of our patients.
Isn't she so insightful? I told you.
Grace is the most important quality a nurse needs to have, right? I think that having a very large grace scale and allowing people the time, energy, and effort in order to accept what's happening at the moment is really, really important. And you don't know what's going on behind their eyes, behind their brains, right? And it's important for us, especially for us as like those trusted adults, which I would not consider myself a trusted adult
situation. Yeah.
As the trusted adults, we need to remember that we were there too. Even if it was 20 years ago, 25 years ago, we were there, right? And remember what it was like to have to ask those questions. It might feel like a quote dumb question, but it's not. It's like, where's the bathroom or how do I do this?
I need
7 children.
Yes. I feel like that's even like the growing pains of being a new nurse. Like we don't have a set lunch break on our floor. There's no like, hey, at 12 o'clock, everyone's going to leave the floor. We can't do that.
No.
There's no lunch.
I've always been jealous of people who get to lunch. I always find it, so fascinating.
I used to like joke sometimes when I'd have like maybe a lighter assignment or I'd have like a break. I'd like hand off my phone and be like, I'm going to have rec time. And it'd be like 15 minutes downstairs because I just like need to catch my breath.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
So I think my growing pains when I first got to my job was kind of figuring out where I have the flexibility to do stuff like that. And when I just can take a step back and be like, hey, I need to take a break. Or because again,
because how do you ask for that even? Exactly. A group of people that you don't trust yet.
Yes. And so I think there's also like a fear of judgment in the nursing scope, which I think it doesn't get talked about a lot because everybody performs care differently. Everyone makes relationships with patients differently.
Yes.
I think like my personality is very different from your personality to your personality to the next person's personality. And I think that also plays a big role in it. But again, it's like finding a way for my personality to thrive in the nursing setting with all of these older nurses making their judgments on me as I am a new member of that team.
Yes. This is like the evidence just pouring out of a human. In real life.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think one of the things that, as the trusted adults in the room, we have to do a better job of not doing this, right? Like we have to do a better job of remembering where we were 20 or 25 years ago. And we need to do a better job of mentoring our newer nurses and ensuring that they're having all of the, good feeling experiences. It's not our job to put them, quote, in their place, right? It's our job to make sure that they thrive.
Right. Yeah. Right. And those simple things like where the bathroom is, when do I eat lunch? How do I eat lunch? How do I even do that comfortably and safely with my patients being cared for? There's the concept of the basic assumption, and it comes from Harvard Center for Medical Simulation. And it says that I believe that everyone participating in whatever activity is intelligent, well-trained, cares about doing their best, and wants to improve. And I find that assumption to guide so much of what I do. And I think that's what you're trying to get. Trust that I'm coming in today to want to do well, but I might need your help. I might not understand something. I might make a mistake. But if you create an environment where I can come to you, then we can still safely provide care on the other side.
I think that's the biggest thing, coming from a place of care and not doing harm. Our job is to promote safety. And there's something that I've been taught, and I'll pull this from my athletics, but one of my coaches basically came up with this idea of a loving critic. And it's basically someone who holds you accountable, might critique what you're doing, but it's always from a place of care and a place of understanding. And I think that's kind of the mentality we have to approach things with going towards younger nurses.
Yes.
Obviously a new nurse is not going to want to do their job. That's never the intention. No. And I think that's kind of how I used to always hear the older nurses eat their young. And that was something I'd been told so many times before I even got to.
It's still there. It's still today.
And I don't know if it's necessarily always true. I haven't personally experienced an older nurse eating me yet. But,
they put you on the menu.
But it's definitely something that does loom in the back of my head of
the judgment. The judgment.
Yes. Even a simple example is if I give terrible report during shifts, I would rather someone pull me aside and be like, hey, you suck at giving report.
Right.
Here's how to fix it. Versus give them a report and them tell their friend, she stinks at giving report.
Right.
I would just rather know.
Right.
Yeah. Because in the end, I'm just trying to help you. It.
Well, but I think also let's call out the fact that you are open to this feedback. And I think we also have we have to set that environment up because not everyone is open to feedback in that same way.
Not everyone has been coachable.
Yes.
Right? Not everyone has lived in that
I think
athletic world.
Yes.
From that harsh criticism and in soccer, it has to happen right then.
Yes.
It can't be we'll save this conversation for Tuesday. If it's in the middle of the game, they're going to be yelling at me across the field in the middle of the game.
Yes.
But I think that's something we've talked about before too. It's we practice to play. Same thing with nursing. We practice our skills to be able to complete them in the nursing field.
In the moment.
Yes. And I think that should be the same way as how we deliver feedback to young nurses. Yes. And sometimes it'll be harsh. And I think that's when you kind of play on the knowing your personnel.
Yes.
So if you know someone does really poorly with in the moment feedback, do the skill, gently guide them.
Yes.
Walk out of the room and be like, hey, this, we got it.
Yes.
I remember this was very early in being on my own. And I was this patient's line is not flushing. And to give backstory, all of my patients for the most part have central lines.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And this patient's line is not flushing. I don't know what's wrong. And we have medications for that if they truly aren't flushing. I remember calling my charge nurse and I was like, hey, can you come check this line? I don't know what's going on. And I'm watching her hands and I see her unclamp it. And I was like,
oh, I totally remember that.
You didn't unclamp the line in front of the patient and their family.
Right.
She was just we walk out and I go, I didn't unclamp it right. And she's like, no. I was like, okay, noted. Now I know for next time. But
I bet you'll never forget that again too, which we talked about that with mistakes. They sort of, and it's interesting if you compare this early time of nursing, it's very similar to when you look at you're talking about early childhood.
Yeah.
And some of these moments are burned into your brains.
Yes.
I was talking with another colleague who left bedside nursing. We've talked about these individuals. And she listened to one of our podcast episodes and she said, Ashley, it sounds like you had such an amazing entry into the nursing profession. And I'm wondering if that's why you are where you are today.
Yeah.
She said, I did not. And she said, I wish I had someone like you when I was struggling. And this was 20 years ago because she said, I might have been saved. I might have been able to stay at the bedside. But she said, I am so traumatized by how I was treated at that time frame that I won't go back to the bedside there. And you've described some pretty poignant things you're working through or dealing with, but I think you're very strong and you have this you have this ability to see what you went through as a team player that you know you can get there. You might just you're navigating it, you're figuring it out. But I'm hearing find your trusted adults, give grace, accept feedback, and then for us to really provide the mentorship that these individuals need to feel like they're entering a profession they want to stay in.
Yeah.
I mean, it also comes back to, I'm shocked that I'm even saying this today, but
I'm excited. What is this? Is this going to be positive?
Relational leadership. It's coming back.
I'm breaking her.
Friend. Yeah, it's coming back to relational leadership. What you described with your charge nurse is exactly relational leadership.
Yes.
It's not calling you out in front of the patient. It's saying, hey, if I call her out in front of the patient, that's going to embarrass her and it's going to cause a trust issue between her and her patient. So I know that I need to tell Alexa outside the room, like, hey, next time, think about the clamp.
Yeah. And I think it's huge that we had that conversation, because I think sometimes someone would go in a different situation and maybe just unclamp it and never say anything.
And never say anything, right?
And then it's like, how do I improve? Like, I just think they're magic.
Right.
They fixed it.
How did they do that?
They trusted us.
When IT shows up, it's always it works, and you still.
Did you turn it off?
Yeah.
I've done that 7 times.
They're like, you can't understand this. So, but a clamp you can. And
exactly.
And it also modeled for you how you should give that feedback if someone asks you for help at some point. Which
I found it helpful.
Yes. Yes. No, it's so true.
I think it's also very unique for me. I started with 4 other new grads.
Mm-hmm.
Now we were kind of all like grandfathered in. So it was like me, a week later, another girl, 2 weeks, another girl, and then a week after that, another one. But we were all kind of within the span of a month. But I feel like they are not my trusted adults, but they are my trusted people at work.
Yeah.
Like when I'm struggling or I'm stretched really thin at work, they're the first people to be like, what can I do for you?
Isn't that interesting? Cohort. It's that cohort mentality.
Yes.
And I think that that's interesting because it's like, well, they're the ones that are still learning how to do their flow, and they're still trying to figure out how to navigate managing 4 patients or 3 patients. Because sometimes I feel like the newer grads tend to have more patients with not as high acuity cases.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But then we're super busy.
Right.
But I feel like if they can so easily delegate or find ways to help someone else struggling, I feel like it should be kind of the same thing.
Right.
With those older nurses. Because yes, a lot of the older nurses get those really sick patients and are really, really busy, but they're still pushing
it's building those patterns and finding those people that build those patterns and keep those patterns, as opposed to slipping down that mindset of, I'm going to make you earn it. I'm going to make you work for it.
Yeah.
And I had to go through all that. And like you said, you can't forget where you started.
No,
where you came from.
You have to consistently put yourself back in your younger shoes.
Empathy.
I mean, even though my shoes were smaller then, but
you think so?
Yeah, like a half size.
Really?
I think my feet have grown since I became a nurse. Probably from all the walking. But yeah, I think it's really important that we're always remembering, and we're also doing that relational leadership where we understand that maybe Alexa needs to be coached. She's used to being coached. She needs that like consistent feedback, like every shift, at the end of the shift, let's check in. How was it? How did it go? How can we improve? That sort of reflection. And then there might be somebody like me who is a total introvert that if you pulled me aside at the end of every shift, I would quit in like 2 days. Because I would be like, I can't do anything right.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. But also curating that experience for them and finding that out and setting up ways in these large organizations. This is what my colleague and I ended up talking about last night. She said, how do we close the gap? And I said, well, we start in the organizations, finding how we can insert what you're talking about into onboarding, orientation, preceptor development. Those are your coaches right there on your unit.
And I like joke all the time. I see my preceptor. I'm like, can we just be like a 2-for-1 again?
Yes.
Like, this is great. You're giving enemas together.
Right.
It's stuff like that I'm like, I miss that because I was getting that consistent feedback.
Yes.
I think sometimes it's kind of hard, especially in nursing, when there's no like rule book. There's no like, hey, you have to do this and then this and then this. Like when I'm administering chemo, there's a rule book.
Yes.
It's very easy to follow.
Yeah.
When I'm doing a sterile procedure, same kind of idea. But when I'm trying to figure out my flow for the day, who to see first, that's all clinical judgment that I'm developing as I get more and more into nursing. But like, I always second guess myself.
Yes.
I'll always be like, well, if they are going to the bathroom a lot, should I give them the stool softener?
Right.
but I don't want to get them off track. So it's like all of these
Or what
things
if they fall trying to get out of the bed?
Yeah.
Because they have to go so bad. Yes.
So there's so many things that like I'm taking into account and going through step by step, but I don't have that person next to me. I can't be like, oh, what do you think? Because they're not there anymore.
Right.
And
yeah, we sort of give that to you and then we take it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like you start off with kind of the easier patients. And then as you get further and further with your preceptor, you get the harder patients. And then the preceptor starts to like back away a little bit and you get back to those easier ones. And then you're on your own at first and you're having those like a little bit lighter assignments. But sometimes like you can get the lighter assignment and it becomes really hard. Like I remember my first day off orientation, I had like the craziest assignment. And I don't know how it happened, but like I had a very confused patient and I had 4 patients. And I just remember being so overwhelmed because I was like, I can't handle all of this. There's like, but then I'm also, the athlete in me. I'm like, I want to get it done. I got to do it all myself. Like I'm going to carry it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to prove to them that I'm a good new grad nurse.
That's so true. Yes.
And I remember one of my colleagues who's only been here a year longer than me. She was like, give me your phone. Go take a break. Like, you've done great. Go take a break.
Like you're not proving anything. Just
you are stretching yourself too thin.
Yes.
We know you're capable.
Yes.
This is hard to balance.
Right.
I think that's
would be hard for anybody.
Knowing what is
like
what is
this
hard for me or what is hard in general.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's also growing pains.
Yes, it is.
So as we're starting to think about wrapping up this conversation, one of my questions I have for you is what should us seasoned
a trusted adult.
Say seasoned athletes. Seasoned.
I mean, that's very
season. What should we do to ensure that new grads are getting the experiences that they needed? What are the things that we need to advocate for?
I think, and this is going to sound really silly, getting to know your new grads.
I
think new grads come in and it's like, have you ever seen Toy Story where they're like, new toys? Like,
yes.
The new grads come in, they're the new toys or whatever, but they're getting to know everybody else. And I'm learning everyone's names. Like, I feel like the first month I was just trying to like learn names. And when we get schedules, we get last names only. So now I'm learning last names too. But I feel like my job was like, figure out who all the nurses are that work on the floor, how long people have been there. I think that's just like learning your teammates.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing as
like a yearbook. Like, you can be like, oh, look, she's really good at central line dressing.
Yes. Yeah. Now, who's really good at putting in IVs? Who I'm going to go to for blood cultures? Who I'm going to go to for just advice on how to manage my shift? But I think like that's the new grads' homework is to like, because you're going to learn everything you need to learn in the setting. If you want to do extra
in time, yes,
you can, but you are going to be given all the tools to learn how to be a good nurse. That job
at the bedside.
And so I think that like the extra homework is learning the environment, and it's a lot easier for the seasoned nurse because there's 1 of you or there's 4 of you versus 70 of you.
Yes.
And again, like there are plenty of people on my staff that I don't know.
Yes.
I mostly work day shift, so I don't really know the night shifters, but I know that I give them report and I know who to give certain types of reports to, who I can go faster with, who I need to go slower with. Like there's all these things of like knowing your personnel. So I think it's almost like a respect thing. It's like, I respect those teams as adults. I'm taking my time to get to know them, vice versa.
Yeah. See me, right?
Yeah.
See me.
Yeah.
I want to be seen.
Yeah.
I'm a new grad on your unit.
And I feel like it's like,
and I don't want to be called the new grad.
Yes.
Learn my name.
Right.
Yeah. Like,
call me by my name.
Like, it's funny. Like sometimes like it's so simple, like I feel like I wish I could give a more groundbreaking answer, but it's really just getting to know those new grads because
all the rainbows and butterflies that come off.
Well, I think if you do that though, and if we connect to all the things that you brought up today, if we start with, and this is great because that's all we can do is approach things one at a time. If we work on how do I get to know the new grads, how you learn, what your expectations are, what your fears
how to coach you.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's literally just learning, like you take these, even like when you discharge a patient, you figure out how they learn that.
Yes.
Or when you like admit them, it's like, what is your preferred learning style? And it's like auditory or visual. Same thing for teaching.
Yes.
I think it's literally that simple. I think it's I enjoy in real time someone telling me to my face, hey, this needs to be better. I just thrive off of coaching. Whereas someone else, it could be like, hey, let's go over this together. Or how have you been doing at work?
Have you read this article?
Yeah. Or let me show you this
your introverted
PowerPoint.
bed rotting.
There you go. Send you an email with all the necessary things to improve your practice. And that would work for you.
It would be amazing because I can process it in my own time.
Yes.
And I think the best way to do that in any form of coaching is like, come not from nursing, be like, how was your weekend? Or, do you have any siblings? Like, did you grow up here? I think it's like, it doesn't need to get deep. You don't have to get deep with all your colleagues. Work is work. But like showing a little bit more of care beyond the surface level of our job creates trust. It literally creates trust. Like I feel like sometimes when I do different stuff with patients, like the dressing change takes forever. Or it does for me because I'm like, I don't want to mess any sterility up here. So I like talk to the patient like, do you have grandkids? Are you married? Like, and then it just becomes, the tension's less awkward. Like I think same way outside of working with patients with your colleagues. I think it's really that simple, just getting to know people and creating that trust so that everyone's a trusted adult. Not to say there aren't trusted adults at work because I have plenty of them, but sometimes it's the exception rather than the rule. And I think that's what we have to kind of bridge to work on.
Wow.
Well, awesome. This was
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining the Hive, Inside the Hive, hivenurse.com. Remember, you can get continuing education credit from listening to this podcast and reflecting about it on hivenurse.com. Follow us on all the things. We have YouTube, we have an Instagram, we have a TikTok, we have a Facebook, all the things. Everything is at Hive Nurse. We can't wait to interact with you. And if you're interested in being a guest on our podcast, you have some ideas, please send us a direct message or an email, and we'd love to get in touch with you. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.